Hello, welcome to another video. In this video, I'm going to be talking to anyone who is moving to Manchester for the first time. So these are the key things to know if you're moving to the city for the first time and you kind of want to know how the feel of it is and the key things to look out for. So here goes. Just for some context, I am a South African who's lived in Manchester for just over 2 years. So these are kind of things that I know based on living here and the things that I've found out along the way. First thing to know is Manchester rains a lot, and you might have heard this, but in real life it really does. It rains all the time and you can't necessarily postpone your plans for a non-rainy day, otherwise you're never going to get to do anything. So it probably is a good idea to just get a sturdy raincoat and potentially an umbrella. Although people don't actually use umbrellas, I actually noticed this the other day. People don't use umbrellas, but you need like a handy sturdy jacket that is waterproof or just a straight up raincoat because it does rain all the time. The second thing is transport links. So there's a couple of transport links that you can use. So you've got the train, you've got the bus, and you've got trams, which seems like a good thing because it's a lot of different options. But if you are still trying to look for a place to stay, it probably is a good idea to make sure that you're staying next to transport links, especially if you don't have a car of your own. Now, I will say this, although there's all of these options, sometimes they just all don't work at the same time. So you'll try and go to a bus stop and the buses are not working. You'll go to a tram stop, the trams are not working, and then you'll try the train, but the train is too far, and then you just have to Uber or just walk home. And the good thing is that it is a walkable city, so you can get around it that way, but it just does get a little bit inconvenient. I think this is a good one, or a big one, if you are moving from London, because London has like regular trains all the time. Manchester isn't quite like that, but fairly decent transport links if you ask me. Taxis and Ubers are not as expensive as other cities just because places are a bit close to each other. So I think the most I've spent recently at least is probably like £15 capped, and that was at least a 20 minutes kind of Uber ride. But yeah, you're not going to get like Uber trips that are really expensive. Third point, which I think is quite interesting. So one thing that is really changing in Manchester is that there are a lot of high-rise buildings that are coming up. So there are like skyscrapers that are getting built. If you think about, well, if I think about how Manchester looked from January up until this point, it looks a whole lot different. Like there's buildings that are popping up everywhere. Now that means a couple of things. One is that the city is expanding, so there's a lot more people that are in the city and that are living here, which means that there's a lot more demand for amenities and public transport, etc., which is quite natural for like a developing city. The second thing is the economy is growing, so that's quite good in terms of job opportunities. So if you want or are looking for employment, Manchester is probably a good place to look. Because of the influx of people that are coming into the city, it means that it's really difficult to find a place to stay. Now, if you are looking for a place to stay, I would say it's probably a good idea, if you know that you're moving into Manchester in maybe a couple of months, to start your search right now, just because it's really difficult to find accommodation. There's a lot of demand. A lot of people are looking for affordable rental, and yeah, again, it's a developing city, and it is the downside of kind of moving into a city where a lot of different people are coming in from different parts of the country. Because of the demand in rental, it's getting really expensive. I think a lot of people are moving from other cities into Manchester because of kind of the pros that outweigh the cons of living here. But the downside of that is that things are actually getting expensive. Like rental is getting quite expensive compared to the salaries in the city, because in comparison to London, for instance, Manchester salaries are not as high just because it's kind of perceived as a less expensive city. But things are changing, and I don't know where we'll land in about a year or so, but it kind of all works together in that there's more people, there's less kind of accommodation to go around, and although the skyscrapers and the new apartments are coming up, they are also getting quite expensive. So you have two options. You either just suck it up and pay the high rental. Well, three options: suck it up, pay the high rental, try and share with more people, that works, or move outer, like in the outer parts of Greater Manchester, which is also like, it can work as long as you have the transport links near where you stay, so you can have easy access to the city. The other part that might shock some people if you are new here is the litter. Now, some parts of the city are quite clean, and even Greater Manchester, like some parts of it are like relatively clean, but then you go into other places like Piccadilly Gardens, for instance, it gets really dirty. And I know that there's like, they clean the roads often, it gets really filthy sometimes and a little bit disgusting, to be fair. And it's something that you kind of just get used to, which I hope will change at some point. But some parts, especially in Salford, just, yeah, it's not nice to walk through, especially if you're walking along the roads with someone who's never been in Manchester and you're like, ah, this is where I live. And then you realize that, yeah, it's not as nice. But I'm not saying the whole of Manchester is dirty, but compared to other cities that I've been to, I think it is on the dirtier side of the scale. Getting into the more exciting bit for the football fans, football is big in Manchester. It's like really, really big. There are two stadiums which are like the home for one of the bigger football teams. Now, I'm not a football fan or anything like that, but I do know that we have Old Trafford, which is home to Manchester United, yeah, I think, and then Etihad, like the Etihad Stadium, which is home to Manchester City. I hope I'm getting these the right way around, but I know there's two football teams. There's one is Manchester United, the other is Manchester City, and the two are the homes to, well, the two stadiums are home to the two football teams. You get the gist of it. Anyway, the football fans will know. Please correct me in the comments section down below. My point to that is, because there's such a big kind of football community and vibe in general, on football match days, especially at peak of summer and like the football seasons, it gets really full on the trams and just the transport links in general. You kind of have to plan your day around when the match will start. Otherwise, you might end up just being stuck in city centre or getting on a tram where you like pressed against someone's armpit or something. Yeah, but the trams get really full on football match days. On the flip side of that, it adds to the culture and the authenticity of the city, and on match days people are singing and happy, and yeah, well, the losing teams are often like, you know, dreadful and cause chaos, but on good days when the right people win, it's always a good time. And just seeing everyone kind of like excited to go to the football matches. And if you live near a stadium, even if you're just going out for a walk, you'll see like people power walking to the stadiums when the football matches are about to start. So that's a really, really nice kind of cultural thing that the city is rich in. Speaking about cultural and like the things that make Manchester a really good city, if you are going to be moving here, make sure you embrace all the things that are happening within the city. Museums and things to see. We don't have as many parks, but we kind of have like a really culturally dense city, so make the best of it. I'll put a list of all the things that you can potentially do here or in the comment section, well, in the description box, and you can have a look at some of the things that you can do. There's also a lot of different types of restaurants that you can try out, as well as like live music spots that you can visit, comedy clubs, etc. But it's an exciting, vibrant city. Theaters as well that you can visit if you are free and you would like to do something. And if you have kids, there's a whole bunch of things that you can do with your kids, because it is quite a family oriented, well, Greater Manchester is quite family oriented. The last thing that I'll say is that people in Manchester are friendly and it is a diverse city. If you are moving with your family or you're moving alone, you are more likely to be able to build a community here than I would say other cities outside of the north. But yeah, people struck up conversations. They ask you how you are. You can have a chat with people. Like, people are warm and friendly, and it's a very diverse city in general. So make the best of that. Make friends from different backgrounds and cultures, and yeah, see where you land, and definitely open yourself up to embracing the city for what it is. I'm going to end this video here, but I hope you found it useful. If you would like more videos like this, let me know in the comment section below, and I'll definitely make more of them. And if you're new to the channel and you like the content here, don't forget to subscribe and like this video, and be sure to watch my other videos. I made another video about how much it costs to live in Manchester. Although it was a year ago, it might be a bit outdated, but it's a good starting point. And I made another video about the pros and cons of living in Manchester. So if you're planning your move and you want to suss out the vibe, check out those videos, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.